Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Buffalo Bridal Podcast. We have Ron from Buffalo Bartenders, Molly from Planning Touch.
Hello.
How are you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
Awesome. I'm Heather from Upstate Indie Weddings. Today, we have the lovely Hannah from Beyond the Barnyard. How are you?
Good. How are you
Welcome.
guys? Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
We had a fun trip in.
Yeah, very entertaining. You know, living in the southern tier of Western New York and having it being spring. We obviously get random patches of snow and ice.
Like,
so
that's not
it was
on
fun.
your dance card?
No,
for
not really.
Yeah,
No, I'm very much an optimist of when we get the fall spring that I'm
Mhm.
hoping that fall spring
Yeah.
sticks.
Yeah.
I
So
think that's a Buffalo thing, right? Like, we're
It
just
is.
praying. We're like, okay, let's go.
yeah,
We
It's
are.
not this spring.
it's all right.
I
That's
took
why
my
we
bag-
have 4-wheel drive vehicles.
I took,
Yes,
my,
there you go,
I,
right.
I took my patio furniture out, and I knew that was
Yeah,
a mistake.
it's-
I was
Oh, see,
like,
I thought about it, but
I'm
I
going
don't
all in.
know.
I'm
I
doing
didn't
it.
bring it
I'm
up
doing
yet.
it.
Put the winter clothes away and
I think-
come back on.
I think for all of us, like, as soon as that sun starts to be out at 6:30, 7
Yes.
o'clock, you're like, let's
Party.
go.
Let's
Yeah, I have this photo from last year where my sweet little daffodils in my front yard, they like come out, they're like ready to play,
Yeah.
and then they're all frosted over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's very sad. It's really pathetic. Okay, so let's talk about your business.
Yes.
Let's get into it. So, what inspired you to start Beyond the Barnyard?
Well, I was working a really crappy insurance job.
I love
in
this story.
Buffalo.
Yes,
Um,
like a good swift kick in the
Not
pants.
gonna name them, but most
Not-
people probably have worked there and really hate it. And I wanted to get out. My husband started. We kind of started the business together. Originally, we have a woodworking business outside of the flowers. It's called Beyond the Barnyard. So that's kind of
Okay.
where the brand started with. He was really doing great with it. He still is. But he took a little bit step back because we have the flowers now,
Mhm.
and that's been taking off really well. So I wanted to get out of insurance. I wanted to do something for myself that wasn't miserable.
Sure.
I have
That's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
to
a
not be
little bit of
miserable
a
forever.
background in ag, and one of my friends that I went to college with was doing the whole flower farming thing. I had no clue what it was. I honestly, to start off with, did not care about flowers.
Okay.
I was not a person that was going to Wegmans every week and grabbing flowers to have in my house,
Mhm.
but I'm like, I can do that. Like, I can grow some flowers and sell them. Like, why not?
Yeah.
So, and obviously, like, everyone started their business in 2020 when the world collapsed because
Dear
we had
COVID.
so much
Sure.
time to ourselves.
COVID.
Yes,
Really
so-
sparked everybody.
I did. So I took that as kind of a trial year, and we started growing in our backyard, and it spiraled from there. I don't know if you guys watch Fixer Upper.
Yes.
Okay, so the
Obsessed.
gains are really a huge inspiration for myself and my husband.
Now that you
So-
just said that, how I did not draw this parallel before. You guys are the Buffalo.
Yeah, we've actually been called that
Magnolia.
before. All of our friends call us
Guacamole.
that. I love them, and that's kind of where we spanned off with Beyond the Barnyard Flower Co.
Mhm.
You know, I grab a lot of inspiration from them with their Magnolia brand, and I really think it's phenomenal how much they've built that up. And I'm like, I want to bring something like that to Buffalo in a little bit of a different light. So that's how the flowers were born, and it turned into this really wacky flower journey that we're on now.
I feel like
So
a light bulb just like went
yeah,
off in my
I love
head. Now
them.
I will
I love
forever
them.
have you guys intertwined.
my
in
biggest
life.
compliment is if someone mentions you in a game.
I love me some JoJo.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you had a little bit of experience in like agriculture.
Mhm.
Like, how did you learn how to? That's not easy. You can't just like spread some seeds around.
Yeah,
Like,
I
do you
I-
do-
I wanna know.
I'd kill them before they even sprout.
I do
so.
too, don't worry. I think
That
everybody
makes me
is
feel
always
better.
like, oh my gosh, your gardens are beautiful. I kill half the stuff that I do.
Mhm.
And if you're talking to any other gardener or florist or flower farmer that's telling you they don't kill stuff, they're lying to you. Because we all kill a lot of stuff still. It's
Sure.
just kind of managing, and the really awesome thing with farming and gardening is there's always a next season.
Mhm.
So if something doesn't go right this season, keep your farm journal and switch it for next season and go from there. And that can be for anybody that has a garden, you know,
Mhm.
even if you just have a backyard vegetable garden. But I went to college for agriculture. I went to an agricultural college in central New York. did not go for farming per se. I went for horses.
Okay.
So I trained and rode very elite 100 jumper horses, and that's what I've done my whole life.
I'm learning so many things.
Yeah, like I have a lot of like hidden secrets.
I love it. They'll all be exposed
yeah.
in the podcast.
And my husband was a dairy farmer for his whole life up until his parents sold their farm. So we have just a lot of experience just collectively with agriculture in general. We have most of our friends that I've met with, you know, through my husband, they're all farming friends. So we have a really nice community of people that really, they maybe didn't understand the flower farming as much as conventional farming, but they were really behind us when we did, you know, our ventures. And I think just having a little bit of knowledge from being in an agricultural college and having a farming husband and a farming in-law family really helped with kind of the logistics of starting everything. We're very blessed to have a neighbor right down the street from us that owns a farm that allows us to utilize his property for free.
Oh, amazing.
Because we don't have our own property right now. We're in the midst of trying to look for property. But he plows, he tills, he does everything for us for free with all of his equipment that he has. So we've been very lucky in that sense to have all of that part taken care of. So we really just had to do the learning portion of it. And 2020 was really great because we're at home. So I am really big on investing in education. So I took a lot of courses, paid a lot of money to have the, I'm not going to say small, but the sort of experience that I have right now. You know, we've only been doing it for 4 years. So, but I like to invest in myself, and I think that that's important for other people that are looking to do this, even if it's something else in business. I think the education portion is really, really important. So
you took it to another level. In 2020, I was like, I'm gonna be a farmer. On this 8x10 space behind my garage, and I got all the equipment, and I like obsessed over Kevin Espiritu from like Epic Gardening. But that was as far as it went. It was like a $20 book and some YouTube. Like,
but
this is why I'm not.
You still have a garden.
I mean, I think I've gotten like 3 cherry tomatoes and maybe a zucchini. That's about it. So, I'm gonna forever just leave.
But that's so great that you're investing in yourself. Because I see so many business owners who think, okay, I launched this business. I'm just gonna start making crazy money.
Like, what do I do now?
But where do I go now? Like, you get stalled, and you see so many people just quit their business because you fail for 6 months. Like, it's tough. This is something we should probably talk about in another episode.
Yeah,
owning a small business and the real
the real life challenges. But
and I think having a mentor is really important too. I had a lot of mentors to begin with. My friend that, you know, she didn't mean to get me into farming, but I kind of forced myself into her being my mentor. She really helped me the first 2 years when I was figuring stuff out, because with farming in general, like the whole entire U.S., there's so many different growing zones that we have, and there's so many different climates. So I might be taking a course from somebody that's growing in California and Washington, and it doesn't necessarily articulate to what we're doing here in Western New York in terms of when we're starting stuff, you know, disease, pests, things of that nature. So I think as well, just, you know, I think it kind of correlates to any business. Having a mentor at the beginning is really important too. Somebody that has gone through what you're going through and can validate what you're going through, but also steer you in maybe some directions that they took that weren't great, and they can kind of help you not take those directions and push you a little bit quicker into your goals that you want to do. I still have a mentor. It's not the same friend. We're still friends, but I've, you know, getting into weddings have become more apt into the design aspect of it. So now I have a friend and a mentor that's been doing it for 20 years, and she really helps me out as well. And I think that's important, having somebody that has done what you're trying to do really help to steer you in the right direction too.
That's one thing I love too, is that other small businesses helping other small businesses. Because you get some people who are just so stuck in their own head, who don't want to help you because you're in the same field. But
Community over competition.
100%.
And I think Buffalo is the right
Yes.
freaking place to do it.
For sure.
I have family in other states, and me and my husband have talked about moving before to where some of our other family has, and we're really into the local community and local businesses. So we did some deep diving when we were looking into possibly moving into what the local community was like, and there's no community like Buffalo has, honestly.
It's
Our
wild.
small
People don't
businesses
understand
here
that.
are phenomenal. Everybody is friends with each other. Everybody wants to, for the most part.
Yeah.
You know, there's obviously some
Yeah.
bad eggs in the bunch, but from what I've seen, everybody wants to help each other,
They do.
and they're just excited to cheer you on from the sidelines, honestly.
Absolutely.
So I think we're in a really cool spot with the area that we're in. If you do, you know, want to start a business or have like a flower farm, because we have an exceptional community in the flower farming industry here in Buffalo, where there is just a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of friendship too, honestly.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
It's so unique. Like
Yeah.
this does not happen in any other place.
No, I
honestly.
don't think so. It's
Yeah.
very, everybody's really just one big love pie
That's a good way to put it.
It really is. It's just like, you know, so don't be afraid
Yeah.
to ask people. Don't be afraid to like
Yeah.
make those connections.
But also realize if that one first person shoots you down, there's probably 10 other people that
Right.
are going to be willing to help you.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and I think it's just more people get in their thoughts of, oh, like, I'm their competition, they're not going to want to talk to me, when really I think everybody just wants to be
Everyone
friends
wants to
with
help each other and work
and
together.
it's nice to have people too. Like, I love my personal friends that I have outside of my business, but my business friends are like, they really understand what we're going through in the day-to-day life, the chaos, the running around nonstop, the dirty farming aspect of it, the burnout that we get. So there's just a whole nother piece that you get from your local, like, small business friends here.
For sure. Oftentimes people are like, if you're working in an office, you have people to commiserate with. And when you're solopreneurs, you have a very small business, you don't. And so you have to rely on that community.
Yeah.
I think it's hard for us being in the wedding industry to maintain good friendships too, because we're busy on the weekends.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and let's be
Gosh.
honest, on weeknights, do we really feel like going out?
No.
Or do our 9 to 5 friends feel like going out to have a
Yeah.
good time?
Yeah.
Not so
No.
much. And we spent the last like 2 months apologizing to all of our friends
Yeah.
because we're like, we miss you guys so much.
Yeah.
But it's the
I
way-
just warn my friends. I'm like, hey, it's almost April.
I was gonna
Like,
say, wedding
see
season.
ya in
Bye.
January.
See ya. Bye.
If you want to hang out with me, I gotta come to a wedding.
just crash it, it'll be alright.
Yeah.
I was telling Heather last night, I do have a friend that she does go with me to weddings. Just because she doesn't get to see me as much as she wants on the weekends. So she's like, well, I'll come to a wedding with you and help out. And
That's
I'm
a
like,
good friend.
cool.
Yeah.
Like, I'll put you to
Yeah.
work. She doesn't ask to get paid. She just wants to hang out, and we do our thing together.
I'm looking for friends like that.
Yeah.
You will see.
Well, we
when-
might be hanging out a couple times this year.
We are definitely hanging out a couple times this year, actually.
I will tell you, at an Upstate Indie wedding show, you will see the people who are checking you in, either my mother, because she has to, because you know that, or my friends. And it's, you know, it's really sweet. I love it. I love my friends. Shout out to all my gals. You had mentioned a little bit about moving into the wedding space a little bit more. Can you talk a little bit more about, like, what's your design style? Like, what's your aesthetic? Like, what's kind of your approach about wedding florals?
I love crazy ideas. I think really the wedding industry right now that I've seen is getting into, I know, like, before on the podcast, we were talking about more intentional weddings, and I see the same thing with florals too. I really like color. I love color. I love big designs. So if you want to have this cool, crazy installation piece, let's figure out how to do it. You know, this is only our 3rd season doing weddings, but I love the design aspect of it so much. It's so fun to be an artist and really show that through flowers, and I don't think everybody always marries the two. You know, I think not always in terms of florists, but I think other people are not always marrying the two ideas together, where a florist is an artist. But there's really so much cool stuff that you can do with flowers outside of the traditional, like, Gerber daisy
Right.
baby's breath look. So there's some really neat things. I love I love color and being able to play with just the textures of what the season brings too for flowers.
Yeah.
So
I love that. What are you seeing as like floral trends for the next year or
Yeah.
two? What's out there?
what's out there, color blocking is so big right now.
Yeah.
I love the color blocking look. We just did a really pretty arbor in Pittsburgh that was very like whimsical and moody and color blocked, and it really did look phenomenal. And I think with the color blocking too, sometimes there's some floral trends that come in where they're not really timeless throughout the years.
Sure.
And I try to keep that in mind of your wedding album that you're gonna have for the rest of your
Yeah,
life. Like
for sure.
when you're 80, I don't want you to be looking at this really wacky trend that
Yeah.
you're seeing and you're like, what the heck was I doing?
Yeah, that's
back
it, like,
then?
That's great
But-
advice for couples
yeah.
who come in and they go on Pinterest and they see all of this
Yes.
stuff, and to be able to kind of like rein them in a little bit and be
Yeah.
like, okay, like let's talk about what you're gonna
Yeah.
still feel so wonderful
Yes.
about in 10, 20,
Yeah.
30 years.
I think
I
there's like the fine line between
Yeah.
the traditional styles that are
Yes,
timeless and
Of
elegant,
course.
and then the modern.
Yeah, the really
takes
modern,
on it.
like
Yeah.
creative stuff. I mean, I love creative stuff, but I think that there's a cool middle ground that we can meet
Yeah.
too. So, petite bouquets are really in right now, and I love doing those,
Yeah.
especially for brides that have 12 bridesmaids.
Sure.
Having a petite bridesmaid bouquet, it's cute, it's petite, it's really, it's nice to see when the bridesmaids are walking down the aisle, and they're not the focus of the day anyways.
Right.
Mhm.
So I think some people get into the aspect of like, well, like they're not gonna see the bouquet that they're carrying. Like people aren't gonna recognize that. They're not going to either way if they
Yeah.
are carrying a big bouquet, because their focus is on the couple.
Yeah.
You know, whether it be you and your husband, you and your wife, whoever it may be.
Mhm.
That's who the focus is on, is the couple for
Yeah.
the day. So, and I think it also helps with your investment too.
For sure.
If you're not spending as much money on your wedding party flowers, we can really allocate that towards some really cool pieces that are going to set the stage for your guests when they walk into your reception or your ceremony.
Yeah.
So I love the petite trends that's going on right now for florals, for the bridal party at least, and color blocking, and just unique, deep, eccentric colors is really seeming to kind of come into the space, like more vibrant oranges and reds and pinks, where like before we were really seeing a lot of romantic pastel colors, which I do still, we still do see that, but I think now we're kind of turning into more of a little eclectic area. So.
I'm for it. I love it.
Yeah,
We
me
did
too.
a styled shoot last year, and it was that bold,
Yeah.
vibrant, just like super colorful
Yeah.
color palette, and it just pops.
Yeah.
It just looks beautiful.
I'm dying for an all marigold wedding.
Ooh.
I've seen them on Pinterest, and they're really, really fun,
Mhm.
and I'd love to do one. So.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, viewers,
All right.
Anyone hears me?
Yeah. Can you share, like, what was your favorite, most memorable wedding that you did? Whether it was color or design or like placement or anything.
I'd say it was this past year in June. I had a bride because I do a lot of Pennsylvania weddings as well. I'm very vast in my area that I will travel to.
Sure.
Just because I really like to get different designs in. So we were in Meadville, PA, doing a wedding. It was the bride just wanted to feel like she was walking into a wildflower meadow. So
Love that.
the venue has this huge square iron rod chandelier that is movable. It comes down and goes up. That's right in the middle of the dance floor. And we did a huge hanging floral installation piece from there. So it was just separate strands of flowers with about like 10 flowers per strand, and we did like 50 strands within this area. We did the whole chandelier, and then we did the above beams above the chandelier, which were huge. And I'm not a height person. And that's one of the weddings that my personal friend came with me, so I threw her on the ladder to do that. But it was like you walked in, and it was really like you were dancing under your own personal flower meadow.
Wow.
And the pictures are so
cool.
magical from it. And not a flower aspect, but another part of that wedding was the bride's grandma thrifted every single piece of cutlery that was on the table, and all of the plates were different floral and bird patterns.
Oh,
wow.
And it was gorgeous, and it was just like such a memorable piece that somebody did for the day that fit the theme flawlessly. You know, I think sometimes we get a little bit nervous when we hear that a family member is doing something very big and specific for a wedding, but this was executed so perfect, and the day really was just like walking into a wildflower meadow, and it was so pretty.
Gosh.
It was
I
so
love
pretty.
it.
Yeah.
Sounds beautiful. It sounds so pretty. So can you talk a little bit about a lot of couples? They come in and they have these ideas about flowers, and they have particular flowers.
Yeah.
But when it comes to local flowers and sustainable growing, you know, can you talk a little bit about why it's so important to have an open mind when you're working with someone who's local? Because I think people do, you were talking a bit earlier about growing zones and like understanding where particular things come from and how things grow. Can you talk a little bit about like educating the couple of, you know, flowers, what's here, what's local?
I love that word, educating,
Yes.
because that's what we're constantly doing with our clients, honestly. I have a group chat with a few of my flower friends, and we talk about that piece a lot, actually, where we're kind of bouncing ideas back and forth with each other, because maybe a client isn't necessarily, they're sending us dahlia flowers in May, and those don't grow until September in our area, and we're like, here's an opportunity to educate the client on what the flower industry really is. I think our area specifically too, like we have a really great variety of growers in this area, like a very big variety of growers, which is awesome. When you're choosing local flowers, you're taking away flower miles. So flower miles are how many miles airline, driving, boating that flower is taking to get into the bride's hands. So when you're most traditional florists, I would say, are, you know, we're wholesaling, getting flowers that they can to just meet what the couple wants in terms of like variety of flowers that they want.
Like sourcing from anywhere
you know,
that has the thing,
sourcing
right?
from anywhere that has it. So, and most of these flowers are coming from Ecuador and Colombia and Holland. So they're also being sprayed and treated with so many pesticides. A lot of these places, the employees are fully suited up in and like
not what
suits
you want to carry down the aisle.
go through these greenhouses. So I think one, like that's an important piece to think about, is just like, where are your flowers coming from? Do you want flowers that have been being shipped for 10 days from, you know, the point of being harvested in Ecuador or Colombia or Holland? They're getting to the port of Miami, and then they're having to be either flown or trucked up to whomever the wholesaler is, sitting in their cooler for however many days, and then being trucked to your house, and then finally they're getting into the bride's hands. So we're talking like 14 days that these flowers could be alive already before they even get to the wedding. And that right there is taking down the quality of the piece of the florals that you're getting. Not only the, you know, environmental aspect of it and your own health aspect of it, but just your quality that you're getting for your wedding day. You know, really the only 2 times that you're getting major flowers is your wedding and your funeral, and out of those 2 times, only one of them you're alive at.
Might as well enjoy them.
You might as well make sure that these are going to be worth the investment that you're spending on, and I think that this huge flower farming motion that's going on right now is kind of the answer. You can get so much more better varieties, colors, quality. I mean, most of the times, like for weddings, if I don't have something that I'm growing on our farm specifically, I'm wholesaling from one of our other really great flower farmers in our area, and I'm grabbing those flowers 3 days before your wedding.
Yeah.
They're harvested 3 days before your
That's
wedding.
incredible.
They're not harvested 14 days before your wedding and being thrown into these really tight cardboard boxes and shipped over for us to then have to process, hoping that half of them aren't molded by the time that we even get them out of the box, which happens a lot of the times, you know, like we get a box in of flowers and half it's molded or it just looks dingy.
Yeah.
And when you're spending thousands of dollars, honestly, on your flowers and something that is really going to be an impact on your day. I mean, as much as flowers are going to be with you for the rest of your life for your wedding because they're in your photography, you know? So you're looking back on your album and your flowers are going to be in almost every single one of your pictures, depending on like what your budget is and what you're allocating for in terms of your flower, you know, choices. If you're getting reception flowers and ceremony flowers and your bridal bouquet, those are all in your pictures.
Yeah.
So if you're, you know, not really thinking about maybe the aspect of where they're coming from, that could also showcase.
It's
and
important.
It's important, and especially when we're talking white flowers too, those can get dingy really quick, honestly. So having something that's fresh and in their prime stage after being cut truly is really important for the integrity of your florals for the day too.
Yeah, I love that.
So.
I think it's so important. Because I think just in general, everyone should support local.
Yeah.
Like, these are the people that we see every day.
Yeah.
We know there's going to be care and quality like associated with it. But also just the reinvestment in our community.
Exactly. Your money is going directly back into your community when you are choosing local flowers.
Yeah.
And not to say here that, you know, we're using local flowers that like from just Buffalo, New York, the whole entire wedding season. Like I have weddings in April. There's obviously nothing really growing right now too much, but there's options in America to still support American grown flowers and not have to get stuff imported from Canada or from Ecuador or from Colombia or Mexico, wherever these flowers may be coming. There's still options and there's flower collectives for florists to be able to choose American grown flowers as well. So, I mean, we have California, which is one of the best growing zones for getting consistent flowers all year long. Maybe they cost a little bit more, but it's worth the investment for the quality that you're getting, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're not worried about quality, then at that point, that's when you go to, you know, the box stores and you get flowers from Sam's Club or something like that. But if
you can
this
see it.
is,
If you put two stems next to each other,
you can see it. I mean,
one versus the other.
not to down Wegmans, because I love Wegmans. But I bought some tulips from them the other day, probably like 4 days ago, and my husband walked in the living room yesterday and he's like, those look like shit already. I'm like, they sure do. They sure do.
Because
He's
they're
like,
older.
he's like, wow, I can't wait for, because we grow a ton of tulips and they've become one of our favorite crops to grow. And he's like, I can't wait for our tulips because these just do not even match what the local product is that you can get, and just the varieties that you can grow as well. Just because a lot of these mass growers in these other countries are growing just specific things, you know, like they're not looking into the different varieties and like all of the different shades of peach or pink, things like that. They're getting like the bulk of what most people are going to order. Where if you're choosing local, we can really dive into those really fun varieties and have something that's going to be a showstopper where people are going to stop and be like, where did you get this? And what the heck is this variety? I've never seen this before. Yeah. You know, so it's a talking piece and it's a conversation piece too for your wedding, especially if you have some people there sitting at tables that don't know each other and you kind of strike that up. Yeah. It's also a really fun way to kind of bring people together too.
Nice little icebreaker.
Yeah, nice little icebreaker.
I love that. So let's talk about logistics, right? So you mentioned April, kind of not a lot of stuff growing in the ground here. I don't know, we're almost in April and it's snowing outside on this recording day.
Yes.
So, but let's talk about like how far in advance should people be booking their florist, their local florist, and like what kind of questions should they come prepared with? Like what kind of questions would you have from them? Like how the whole planning process really.
I think booking time depends on, do you want this specific artist or do you just care about getting a florist in? If you want this artist, try and book a year in advance. truly, like, most of my clients honestly are booking a year to 9 months in advance.
Okay.
For 2026 already and
Yeah.
everything. So I always recommend that. I know most people think about booking their vendor first, not the vendor, their venue first, and then their photographer. And if you're really wanting to work with a vendor specifically, reach out to them.
Yes,
As soon as
absolutely.
you have that
Mhm.
date and that venue,
Yeah.
reach out to them. But if you're just, if you're looking for a florist, I love to say like 9 to 8 months in advance, if you can. It's really tough when people reach out like 6 to 4 months in advance for your wedding, and they're also kind of getting pissed off because you're having to turn them down because you're already booked.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So a lot of like your bigger vendors that are sought after, they're gonna be booked at that year to 9 month point because people already know that they book quick
Yeah.
and they want to get in with them. So the earlier the better.
Yeah.
I have some brides that book a year and a half in advance,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
Do you have
You
brides
know-
that book that don't even have a date and a venue yet?
I
Or a
have to
ring.
have a date.
Or a ring? I was gonna say, because
Some
I've been
people
getting a
book
lot of
without
inquiries
rings.
about
We get
people not
that
even
so
getting
much.
them engaged, they're not engaged yet.
I can't take anything that doesn't have a date
Mhm.
because I have a full-time job on top of this too. So it is wild, honestly. And then we have our woodworking business. My husband also has a full-time job.
You're
So
so busy.
yeah, we're busy. I mean, we're working
You are
all
Chip
the
and
time.
JoJo. Gosh.
So I love to have a date. I need to know because
Yep.
especially I can't book somebody without a date, and then other brides are coming in with it, or other couples are coming in with a date, and then
Right.
there's some conflicting
Mhm.
logistics there. So at least if you have a date, I'm good.
Yep.
I don't mind traveling. So if you have a date and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to be in Buffalo or Rochester or Ellicottville or Chautauqua, fine, whatever. We can figure that out down the road.
Mhm.
But
Let's talk about after the wedding.
Hmm.
So you've made this investment.
Mhm.
You have these beautiful locally grown flowers.
yeah.
What are some of your favorite things for what to do with your bouquet after the wedding?
Ooh. Bouquet preservation.
Yeah.
Press it.
Press it.
Friends with Phrase Flowers.
Mm-hmm. Shout out Morgan.
Yeah, shout out Morgan. She does a phenomenal
She does do a
job.
great job.
I mean, it's just, I have one of her pieces in my house, and I'm going to be getting more for my mom and then for our design studio.
Yeah.
And it's lovely. I think I like the resin. Like, there is options to do resin
Yeah.
flowers. I think that is a specific look though, and a
Mhm.
specific style for resin. So if you're looking for something that is going to last like timelessly, styly, aesthetic wise throughout the years, get your flowers pressed.
Yeah.
Best thing too, if you are gonna preserve your bouquet, once you're done with pictures after your ceremony, put that sucker in water.
Okay.
Make sure that it's in water. I always provide my couples with a nice big vase, and make sure that it's by either their sweetheart table or in a getting ready room once they're done, so that bouquet goes in there so it has the best integrity for the petals once it gets into the press or whatever it may be. Just because at that point, typically when you're dropping off your flowers to your preservation artist, it's already a day, 2, 3 past your wedding, so we're already compromising the integrity of what the petal composition is going to be. So we want to make sure that they're going to be as flawless as possible, not bruised, not veiny from being outside of the water and wilting and really struggling to get moisture. So I love that. Other pieces too, if you're not renting vases from your florist and you have like the centerpiece that's full years that you own, we do centerpieces where it's just like a plastic tray on the bottom, so it looks like the flowers are like a part of the table.
Oh, cool.
If you don't want 30 centerpieces, ask your guests to bring them home.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're so excited to bring them home. I do like some corporate events outside of weddings. My husband works for Granat's Asphalt Products, and we do their huge Christmas party every year, and that's one of the things that they raffle off for the tables. that everybody is always so excited for. They're like, I'm the one that's gonna grab the centerpiece this year.
I've been to so many weddings where like everyone's eyeing that centerpiece, and it's like who's gonna go, like who's gonna take it first? Who's gonna get it?
Everyone always asks, where are they going?
Yeah.
Where are they?
Yes.
Like, who's getting
Taking
them at the end of the night?
Yep.
Free for all? Cause,
Pay some rock,
Can I
paper,
take 'em?
scissors, shoot.
As soon as the dancing starts, just take it to your car.
Exactly. Just sneak
That
out.
might be a guy
I'd say
down.
make sure you ain't taking the Flora's vessels if it's in a vessel.
True.
But also I think a really cool idea that brides can kind of get into and couples can get into with this is ask your florist if they're available to stay after your wedding and break apart the flowers for the guests.
Oh,
Buy
nice.
some
That's a good idea.
buy some bud vases off Amazon
Mhm.
and have like a deconstructing flower bar at the end of your wedding.
That's a
Oh,
really
that's
good
cool.
idea.
Yeah.
That's a really good
I
idea.
saw this yet. My friend actually sent me a reel on that, and I think it's something that we're going to be offering for
Cool.
2026
Yeah.
as a service. We just haven't nailed down the exact like logistics and everything yet for
That's a really
it,
good
but
idea. It becomes a
you know,
favor, right? It becomes
it's a
like
favor,
functional
and it's
favor.
just another experience that you
Mhm.
have at your wedding for the guests that are staying there.
Like
that
something for them to do.
yeah, exactly, and you're able to get, if it's a centerpiece or whatnot, that you are owning the vessel and your bride is just renting it from you, you're able to still get your vessel back in peace and not have to track down like your couple's second cousin to ask them who took it. But then, you know, bride, like have them purchase the bud vases, you sit there with a stand and kind of fill the flowers or whatnot.
That's a good idea.
Or just, you know, if the family's a real big DIY family, they can do it themselves. too.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the cleanup, have like a little flower party and take apart the flowers and keep them and just put them in some shallow vases, and then you have something really nice to take home with you too.
Yeah,
And especially if they're local, they're going to last a
Yes,
long
they're
time.
gonna
So you can
last.
enjoy them, you know, and their beauty.
Another idea was I was working at a venue and they actually donated all their centerpieces to like a nursing home.
Oh, I love. Yes.
Like donating them to to other people that can use them.
Absolutely.
Spread the love.
Yeah.
right?
Spread the love.
Spread
And
that love.
especially-
I've seen that happen a few times. They leave all the stuff and then the venue says, "Oh, I'm actually going to take them, you know, over to the nursing home or someplace."
We've talked about doing that before. If we do, most of the time I try not to have to bring the flowers back home because I hate throwing them out,
I know.
honestly. And
They're
like if
little
we're being
babies.
realistic, that's what's happening at
Yeah.
the end of the weddings
Yeah.
mostly
Right,
is like
right.
all of these flowers are getting
It's
thrown
so
out.
sad.
So it's hard, you know, just to
It's
be
very
the one that's
sad.
working like 24 to 48 hours on this wedding, and then you're tearing everything down like
I know.
that night. So, and like the elderly, you know, a lot of the times in these nursing homes too, they don't have anybody that's coming to see them. So it's really such a like a token of
Beautiful.
love, honestly, that
You brighten their day with these beautiful flowers.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Or, you know, if you have friends or family that you know that'll take them, like sometimes like after weddings, if you know couples have me take home the flowers, I'll break them down and give them to my neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'll just text my neighbors and be like, hey, I have some flowers if you guys want some.
Oh, that's so
You
nice.
know?
Everyone loves getting flowers.
Yeah,
or
doesn't
having
it?
flowers in their
Flowers.
house.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's nice.
We have a flower truck too that we started off with before we started doing
Which
weddings.
is so cool.
Thank you. I love the truck.
Yeah.
Her name's
She's pretty.
Flora. Her
She's
name's
pretty.
Flora. She's a 65 F100. She's very cool. But I was never going to be in weddings originally when we started
yeah?
the farm. I very much was like, heck no. Nope. But I
And
love
look
them
where
now.
you
Yeah,
are.
obsessed with them. That's all I want to do. But that's what we originally started with was our flower truck. So after weddings, sometimes too, if I have flowers that are still in really good, you know, integrity and whatnot, I'll just throw our truck on the end of our driveway and throw wrapped
Oh,
bouquets
that's a
in the
good
truck,
idea,
and
too.
then people can come and grab
Yeah,
them if they
yeah.
want. So
That's so cool.
Yeah.
With the truck, do you do like classes and stuff like that, or is it kind of just
Yeah.
like
Delivery truck.
delivery?
no, oh gosh, no, she's so old. Yeah, she's a 65, so she wouldn't be able to do it. She's not like our delivery truck, but originally I kind of like fell into the trap of Pinterest and Instagram where everybody was getting a flower truck, and I'm like, I need one. And me and my
Wow,
husband,
Ron, that
yeah.
sounds like
Sounds right
Yeah.
Sounds like you, Ron.
Me and my husband are so impulsive. We're very
Sounds
impulsive.
like you.
No,
You
not
either
this.
should and should not be.
Yeah. Very impulsive people. So, and we both love old Americana vehicles, like 40s to 60s. We love that area of American vehicles. So we've always wanted old antique classic cars to be able to bring to car shows and everything anyways. So I was just scrolling Instagram and I'm like, I think we should get a truck and turn it into a flower truck. And my husband's like, okay.
Wow.
So the next day,
I need one of those in my life.
I was
no, there's no we're really bad for each other. Like Heather was talking about earlier, I have a greenhouse. I was just like, I want a greenhouse, and he's like, okay.
I don't know if I need that or what I have, because my wife is like, do you need that? Well, how much is it?
Yeah.
Who's paying for it?
She fills up the filters that you don't have internally.
Yeah, but then I just have a few drinks and I buy it anyway.
Yeah, we're both really bad in our respective hobbies of things. Like, I have horses, and then he has his hobbies that are both expensive, so we just don't talk about it. But the truck, like, the next day, he was on Facebook Marketplace, and we found it in Virginia, and we went and got it that weekend. Like, no idea of what we were going to do with it. We were just like,
details. Yeah. That doesn't matter.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Yeah.
Industry.
It goes to the Hamburg Farmers Market for us. I do rent it out for weddings. So this past year I had 2 brides that rented it out as their favors for their guests.
Oh, nice.
So we sat there at the reception with the truck. It was filled as the bouquet bar, and then we had a separate table with bud vases, and guests were able to come up and build their own bouquets and take home with them. So it was really fun. It's cute. It's a great picture opportunity. Especially like it gets it's kind of something for the guys and the girls.
Yeah.
They love the flowers and the aesthetic of it, and then the guys are just like, oh, let me crawl under that thing and look at it. Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
it's a fun talking piece for weddings and things like that too. So
cool.
So cool.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you
Share
for
with
having me.
everybody where they can find you, all of your Instagram and your website, all the things.
We're on Instagram and Facebook at Beyond the Barnyard Flower Co. My website is www.beyondthebarnyardflowerco.com, and then we're also on TikTok. It's kind of just it is. I've had some like recent reels go really viral on TikTok, so it's on Beyond the Barnyard Flower Co. as well there. It's not really like as much like reach out to me for business, but if you want to see like the funny things that go on outside of what we show on Instagram and Facebook, it's on TikTok. So, but like best way if you want to reach out to us for your wedding florals is just head to our website. We have an inquiry page on there. Please make sure to include your date and what you're looking for. But that would be the best way to reach out. Instagram's always great, but I like to funnel everything kind of in one space with everything that we have going on. So
for sure. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This
thank
was
you
really
guys.
fun.
So excited to be here with you.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome.
All right, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. All the details, all the social media, website, all that good stuff will be in the description as always. And we will see you next week. See ya.
Bye.